Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Vishnupada Paramhansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotar Sat His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindam Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jaya Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jaya Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadrame Ki Jaya Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jaya Nitaya Gaur Premanande Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jaya Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jaya Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jaya Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Ki Jaya Hare Krishna. कैसे ठीक है? ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणम्. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः. पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्. आराध्यो भगवान् व्रजेशतनयस्तद्धाम वृन्दावनम्. रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवतो वर्गेण या कल्पिता. श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेमापुमर्थो महान्. श्रीचैतन्यमहाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्रादर न परः. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते. तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. हिंदी इंग्लिश? इंग्लिश. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Bhaktivedanta Gurukul and International School ki Jaya. I am very happy to be with all of you today. I am coming here after more than 5 years. Perhaps many of you were not here at that time. And even if you were here, I may not remember you. How many of you were in this Gurukul 5 years ago? Okay, very few, very few. Okay, Hare Krishna. So you are all very, very fortunate, very lucky that you have the chance to study in Sri Vrindavan Dham, in such a wonderful school, in such a devotional atmosphere, where you are learning both about this world and also about the spiritual world. So you are very, very fortunate. You have been doing this bhakti in your previous life. That is how you got a chance to connect to Lord Krishna in this life from such a young age. How many of you were doing bhakti in your previous life? Raise your hand. Yes. Actually, you all were doing bhakti in your previous life. How many of you remember your previous life? Nobody. You remember? Huh? But it doesn't matter whether we remember or we don't remember. We should know from Bhagavad Gita, as Srila Prabhupada explains, that no one can come to Lord Krishna or to Krishna consciousness in this life unless he or she was also doing this Krishna consciousness in the previous life. So each and every one of us was doing some bhakti at least in the previous life. But we don't remember it. But even if we don't remember it, it does not matter. How many of you remember when you were 1 year old? How old are you boys here? How old?
5, 6, 7.
5 years, 6 years. At the back? 8 years old. And here? 14. 14. And here? 15. So how many of you remember any incident from your life when you were 1 year old? Anyone remembers? No. But because you don't remember, does it mean that you were never 1 year old? You were 1 year old, then you were 2 years old, then 3, 4, 5. So because we don't remember, it does not mean that we were not 1 year or 2 years old at some point in the past. So similarly, just as we do not remember so many things, even about this life in the past, we don't also remember what we were in the past life. But definitely, we did some amount of bhakti. Some may have done less, some may have done more, but everybody did some amount of bhakti. So now you have to continue from where you left off in your previous life. And you have to make sure that in this life you will go back to Lord Krishna's kingdom. And that is the ultimate purpose of our education. Education means to bring out that which is within. So our latent bhakti has to be brought out by chanting Hare Krishna, by serving Lord Krishna. And then one day when we become pure devotees, then Lord Krishna will say, when the time comes to leave this world, I will take you back to Golok Vrindavan. I will take you to my kingdom. How many of you want to go to Golok Vrindavan after you end this life? Very nice. But do you know that you are also in the same Golok Vrindavan even now? Our Shastras explain that there is no difference between Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world and Goloka Vrindavan that we are living in right now. There is no difference. One time Lord Krishna brought all the Brajavasis to the bank of the Yamuna and he showed them Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. And he showed them Vaikuntha, also the abode of Lord Narayan. What happened is that when Nanda Maharaj was kidnapped one day in the water in Yamuna, when he was bathing, he went very early on Dwadashi, too early. So the servants of Varuna, they said, he is bathing so early in the morning. So they arrested him and took him to the kingdom of Lord Varuna, the Lord of the oceans, the Lord of water. When Nanda Maharaj did not come, so all the Vrajavasis became very worried. Where has Nanda Baba gone? So then finally Krishna said, I will bring my father back. Krishna, of course, knows everything. He is in everybody's heart. So he knew what had happened to Nanda Maharaj. So he jumped into the water and he swam and came to Varuna Loka. When Varuna understood that Lord Krishna had come, then he was very joyful. He welcomed Lord Krishna with gorgeous preparations and lot of loud blowing of the conch shells and musical instruments. He gave him nice place to sit and offered him wonderful offerings of food, arati and so on. And Varuna asked Lord Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? And Krishna says, your people have wrongly arrested my father. So I have come to take my father back. So Lord Varuna was very sorry to hear that his servants had made such a big mistake. They arrested the father of Nanda Maharaj, of Krishna, Nanda Maharaj. So he begged forgiveness and then he sent many wonderful gifts. Nanda Maharaj was struck with wonder to see how his little boy, Kanha, Krishna, was being respected and worshipped and loved and served in Varuna Loka. Krishna's mother and father, Yashoda Mata and Nanda Baba, they never thought of Krishna as God. They only thought of Krishna as their son. So when Nanda Maharaj saw that Krishna was being worshipped like God, he was taken aback. He was struck with wonder. And he was also struck with wonder to see the gorgeous opulence of the kingdom of Varuna Dev. Such big mansions and so much of other opulence there. inside the water. So when Krishna brought Nanda Maharaj back on the land, then all the Brajavasis were overjoyed to see that Nanda Maharaj was safe and that Krishna was also safe, because the Brajavasis had now become worried for Krishna's safety also. So Krishna brought back Nanda Baba, and all the Brajavasis crowded around Nanda Baba. What happened? Where did you go? And Nanda Baba was very excited. And being very excited, he told all the Brajavasis about the wonderful things that he had seen in Varuna Loka, all that opulence. And also he explained to the unbelieving Brajavasis how Krishna had been worshipped as God. They were unbelieving in the sense that they did not imagine Krishna to be God. They also thought Krishna to be just their beloved Kanha, their cowherd boy. So they were unbelieving because they were very surprised. Why should Varuna Dev, who is the demigod, the lord of the oceans and the water, why should he worship our Kanha like this? They could not understand. So in their mind, they were marveling at the opulence of Varuna Loka. And Krishna is Antaryami. He is seated in everybody's heart. So he understands what we are all thinking. Now, I don't know what you are thinking, and you don't know what I am thinking. We don't know what each of us is thinking, but Lord Krishna knows what each of us is thinking. So right now also what you are thinking and what I am thinking, Lord Krishna knows it. How come? Because He is there in our heart. He is Sarvajna. He knows everything, past, present and future. So he understood that the Brajavasis, even though they were his eternal associates and devotees, still in their hearts they were very simple villagers. ब्रजवासी बहुत भोले थे, वो भगवान के भक्त थे, शुद्ध भक्त थे, उनके पार्षद थे, फिर भी बहुत भोले थे. They were very simple hearted. So they were thinking, oh, we also want to see Varuna Loka. Just like when somebody is living in the village, and if one of their relatives goes to the big city, or he goes to America and comes back and shows them pictures of America and Australia and the big cities, then the simple villagers will start thinking, oh, I also want to go there. So these simple-hearted Brajavasis were also thinking like that. Oh, we can also see the abode of Varuna. Then Krishna became little concerned. He said, these are my pure devotees. I have brought them from Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. And there is no higher place than Vrindavan. But now they have got so attracted and so captivated by the descriptions of Varuna Loka given by my father Nanda Baba. So I want to show them that actually there is no difference between my Vrindavan Dham here where we are living and the Vrindavan Dham from which we have all come in the spiritual world. So he took all the Brajavasis to Yamuna Radha. It is near Akrur Ghat, which is on the border of Vrindavan and Mathura. And there, by his mystic powers, he showed the Brajavasis all the Vaikuntha planets. And then within those Vaikuntha planets was the chief planet, Goloka Vrindavan. And they all saw Krishna herding the cows there. They saw Krishna with the gopis there. And all the Brajavasis were again struck with wonder. And they understood that there was no difference between the Vrindavan in the spiritual world and the Vrindavan that they were living in. And then they gave up their desire to want to see Varuna Loka. When they are with Krishna, what is the need to go to Varuna? When they are in Vrindavan, what is the need to go to Varuna Loka? So in this way, Krishna very kindly showed them how fortunate they were to be here rather than in Varuna Loka. So there are many boys, many people who are living in Delhi, in Bombay, in London, New York, Sydney, Tokyo, many big places. And there is so much opulence there. Big tall buildings, big cars. But please know that all of you are more fortunate than all of those people who are in these big wealthy places. You are living in Krishna's home. And Krishna's home is the place where Krishna makes himself very easily available to anyone who seeks him with sincere devotion. So therefore, now that you are living in Vrindavan, make the best use of this opportunity. How many of you are from Delhi? Raise your hand. Okay. How many from Agra? Okay. How many from Jaipur? Okay. And how many from any other big city of India? Which cities? Mumbai. Huh? Where? Bombay. Okay. And how many of you are from Goloka Vrindavan? All of you. Okay. So, don't grudge, oh, I wish I was in Delhi and Bombay and Bangalore and Tokyo. Be happy you are in the best place in the whole universe. So this is the place of Vrindavan. That is the same as Vrindavan in the spiritual world. So remember that every single day. Don't think this is an ordinary place. Every leaf here is chanting the holy names of Krishna. Do you know that? Every leaf, every blade of grass is vibrating the name of Krishna here. The soil, the mud of this place is also very pure. So everything here is Krishna conscious, as it is in Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. So because we have forgotten Krishna, so we are here now in the material world. But Krishna very kindly has brought Vrindavan to the material world. And now you are going through your education in Vrindavan Dham. You know, in the earlier days, there were also Gurukuls, of course. And in those Gurukuls, there was no writing in the old days, in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. This writing started only in Kali Yuga. Before that, there was no need for writing. Do you know why there was no need for writing? Anyone? Any of the older boys? You can stand up and speak loudly and give the answer. Yes. Very nice. What is your name? Tapan. Samrit. Samvit. Samriddha. Samriddha. You are actually Samriddha. Samriddha means very wealthy, very potent. So very right, you have given the very correct answer. In those ages, everybody had very strong memory. So they could remember things just by hearing it. And it was normal for everybody like that to remember. So in the Gurukul, the Acharyas and the Gurus, they would recite the Vedic mantras and the children would sit there and they would hear. But they would hear very attentively. They did not have mobile phones to distract their minds. So they would very attentively hear and they would repeat after the Guru. So this was the way the education happened in those days. Many, many lakhs and millions of years ago. And just by hearing attentively and repeating, hearing and repeating, they could memorize hundreds of thousands of verses, not just few verses. How many of you have memorized some verses from Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures? Everybody has memorized some verses. Yes?
But he knows the entire.
Knows the entire?
700 verses.
Entire 700 verses. Very nice. Very nice. Excellent. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. But don't become proud. Okay? That I know 700 verses. You don't know 700 verses. So I am better than you. Should you think like that? No. No. So you should remain very humble. And now learn all 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam also. Okay. What is your name?
Krishna.
Krishna. Okay. Krishna also learnt like that. From Maharashtra. Pandharpur. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. You know, when Valmiki Muni composed the Ramayana, he did not write it down. He just composed it in his mind and it remained in his mind. And then he was thinking, I need some qualified students to whom I can recite and teach this Ramayana. And they should memorize it. And then they should go all over and sing the verses of the Ramayana. And do Ram Katha everywhere. How many verses are there in the Valmiki Ramayana? Who knows? Just raise your hand if you know. How many verses are there in the Valmiki Ramayana? Yes, somebody has raised the hand. Yeah. Stand up and say 1800. No, 18. Yes.
From that side.
Yes, the boy. 24,000. Very correct. Very nice. And Srimad Bhagavatam has 18,000. So 24,000 verses to memorize is not easy. So Valmiki Muni was thinking, now whom can I teach it to? Who will be able to memorize it very quickly and at the same time who will have very melodious voices and they will sing and travel everywhere narrating the pastimes of Lord Ram as I have compiled them. So then he thought of Love and Kush. Who were Love and Kush? The sons of Lord Ram. And Sita Mata was also living in Valmiki Muni's ashram. So just at that moment, as Valmiki Muni thought of Love and Kush, both the boys came in front of him and they offered their respects, they offered their pranam, their obeisances to Valmiki Muni. Valmiki Muni was very happy to see their shining and intelligent faces. And he says, okay, now I will teach you something very special. So they sat down. And Valmiki Muni started speaking, reciting the verses that he had composed in his mind. And he went on reciting, and Love and Kush, they repeated after him. And eventually, they were able to memorize all the 24,000 verses of the Valmiki Ramayana simply by hearing Valmiki Muni's recitation. Just see how wonderful it was. And then they also were very skilled in the art of music and recitation and speaking. So they went all over Kosala Rajya, the kingdom of Lord Ram. And they were glorifying and narrating the pastimes of Lord Ram. All the citizens were very happy to hear these narrations. Finally, word reached the ears of Lord Ram, and the boys Love and Kush were invited to the darbar of Lord Ram's court. Lord Ram also did not know that they were his sons. And these two boys came and started reciting the Valmiki Ramayana. That once upon a time, there was a great king called Ikshvaku who descended from the sun god and from Manu, and he had many other sons and kings, and then he created Ayodhya, and in this way the narration began. And Lord Ram also became completely absorbed in that narration. And he was sitting on his throne, but he became so rapt in attention that he also came down to hear more attentively. So the Lord also hears his own pastimes. The pastimes of Lord Ram, of Lord Krishna, they are so beautiful and nice to hear that even the Lord himself likes to hear those pastimes. So in this way we see that was in Treta Yuga. In Treta Yuga, they were able to memorize everything. Even in Dwapar Yuga, that was the system. So that was how education was done. Just by reciting and then repeating and then memorizing. Then at the end of Dwapar Yuga, Vyasadeva realized that in Kali Yuga, people's memory will be very short. They will not have the power to remember anything. So then he decided, I have to put down in writing. So who will do the writing? Ganesh came, and all the demigods suggested, yes, you please request Ganesh to do the writing. So Ganesh became the first stenographer to take dictation. And Vyasadeva said, now I'm going to compile this great narration called the Mahabharata. And I would like you to write down whatever I recite. So Ganesh happily agreed. But he put one condition. What was the condition? Yes? You can rise and say. No, yes?
You should speak continuously.
Yes. Ganesh put the condition that I will write down everything you say, provided you speak continuously without stopping. And if you stop speaking, then I will stop writing. So Vyasadeva was thinking, that is a very tough condition. You see, whenever we are writing, when you are writing in your exams, for example, don't you stop sometimes to think and then you write again? Yes? But if somebody says, you have to continuously write, keep writing and don't stop. If you stop, you will fail. Then everybody will fail. It is so difficult. So Vyasadeva, of course, is an incarnation of the Lord. So he is not an ordinary person. He could have done. But at the same time, he understood sometimes he would have to think to compose further verses. So he said, Ganeshji, I agree to your condition that I should speak continuously. But I also have a condition. And what is that condition? Yes, somebody else? Yes. Yes, stand up and say. Yes. Can't hear you. Speak loudly. Whatever? No. Understand, yes.
He said that I will give you puzzles in the middle of the Bible.
No, he didn't say I'll give you puzzles. Okay. What he said is, my condition is that you should not write down anything until you have understood it. So, time to time, whenever Vyasadeva needed some time to think, he would suddenly speak a difficult verse, shloka. And then Ganesh would think, oh, what is the meaning of that? He would stop. And when he stopped for some time, then Vyasadeva would get time to think. Then he would compose ahead. So in this way, in Prabhupada's words, by the cooperative effort of Vyasadeva and Ganeshji, the Mahabharata was written down. And then gradually, as Kali Yuga started, all the Vedic scriptures, the Upanishads, Puranas, they were all written down. And in those days, there was no paper. Now also people are striving for paperless education, paperless offices. But paperless offices and education used to be there long ago. There was no need for paper because they remembered everything here. One time, many years ago, I had gone to some place and I had just arrived and I was in my room and I had opened my bag. And one of the scholars from that area, one of the local Brahmanas, he came, he was brought by somebody. And my suitcase was open and many of my books were there inside. So this Brahmana, he told me, why do you have so many books here? I said, because I may need to read them and refer them. He said, all the books should be here. So I was very happy to hear that. Although it is not easy to keep all the books here. But I asked him, and he said that he remembers everything that he has studied, all his books. So he doesn't need to carry his books. So in those days, earlier days also, it used to be paperless education. Nowadays, in the modern world also, they have paperless because they give everybody laptops and tablets to work on. But this paperless education is different from that paperless education. This paperless education with the laptop is actually making our memory weak. Earlier, we used to remember telephone numbers and we used to write it down in a diary also, and very often we remembered all the numbers. But now you don't need to remember anything, you just press your mobile phone button and the name is there, automatically the number is contacted. So that means we are not exercising our memory. You know, when we don't exercise your body, then what happens? Then the muscles of your body become weak. And then afterwards, when you try to use it, you can't. So the strength of your body comes down because the muscles have become weak. They cannot do what they used to do earlier. In the same way, when the memory muscle, so to speak, when the memory is exercised regularly, then your memory becomes stronger and you are able to remember more and more. You are able to remember better than you used to earlier because now your memory strength has increased. But if you don't practice remembering things, then very easily you will forget. So that means there is a lot of practice that is needed. So even though you are using laptops and tablets and books and so on, which is fine, you should also practice remembering. Try to remember the useful things. In this way, your memory will also become very strong. One of the parts of intelligence is memory, according to Srimad Bhagavatam. So try to practice when you are studying. Remember the students of the old days. Remember Love and Kush. And remember how the students in those days used to learn. So when you are attending your classes, whatever be those classes, whether it is mathematics, whether it is Bhagavad Gita class, or it is environmental studies, whatever subject you are studying, you always hear your teacher with rapt attention. And you try to remember what you have heard. So when the class is over, you try to repeat what you have heard in the class. In that way, by hearing and then repeating and repeating again and again and again, you will remember. So your memory power will be increased and you will be able to understand also very nicely many things. Then when the exams come, you will not be in much anxiety. At the end of the year in the exams, you will be able to be easily successful. So this is the secret. And when you chant Hare Krishna early in the morning, then your mind becomes fresh and it is able to absorb. So that is the best time to repeat, to hear and repeat all your shlokas and all your subjects also. So you can spend some time to chant and some time to repeat the mantras that you hear, all the shlokas and so on. And also your studies you can do because you will remember and understand very easily. So this is a very important part of your education, to try to increase your memory power. It doesn't mean that that is all that education is about. No. You must also understand. You must also learn how to think, learn how to analyze. That is also very important in your education. And most importantly, your education means that you must become very good devotees of Lord Krishna. This is Prahlad Maharaj's conclusion in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore education has three parts. The first part is you have to become very nice devotee. Second part, you have to become a very cultured, well-behaved person with good, noble character, habits and lifestyle. And third, you must learn all your academic subjects like geography, history, mathematics, Sanskrit, English, Hindi, whatever subjects you are learning. You should learn them very carefully and develop all these skills And in this way, you will be very successful in your life. So I want to thank all the devotees and all the teachers and staff, all those who are serving here in Bhaktivedanta Gurukul and International School, and also in the traditional Gurukul that has started, in both, and also all the other projects that are going on here, like the Goshala and so on. I want to offer my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to each and every one of you who are doing such nice seva over here. And I hope and pray that you will be able to continue enthusiastically your seva in the same mood in which you are doing it now. And now Sri Krishna Balaram have also arrived to shower mercy upon you. And I also want to thank each and every one of you students here for having come here and take the full advantage now of this. And may Sri Krishna Balaram shower their mercy upon all of you, so you become very good in all these three departments of education. Which is the first one? Devotion. The second one? Culture and character. And the third one? Academics. So become very good in all these three departments of your education. Then your education will be complete and perfect. Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So when Radha Kanta Prabhu invited me to come here, so I was very happy because I had it in my mind that I want to come and see all of you before I leave Vrindavan. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Next up, we'd like to thank Maharaj by loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Any questions you want to ask, please wait for the mic and pass it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
एक प्रश्न है कि आपने जैसा वर्णन किया ब्रजवासी बुलापन वो बुलापन कैसे आया हमें हम ब्रज में तो आ गए लेकिन वो बुलापन कैसे आया काम में भरा हुआ है और दोष है तो बुलापन
ब्रजवासियों के पद चिन्हों में चल के कृष्ण के समय के जो ब्रजवासी थे उनके पद चिन्हों में चलेंगे तो वैसे हम भोले हो जाएंगे, लेकिन इस संसार में रहते हुए हमें सावधान भी रहना चाहिए, लेकिन अंदर से हमें निष्कपट होना चाहिए। तो जैसे भगवान के भक्त थे, ब्रजवासी गण थे, उनके बारे में पढ़ के सुन के उनका नाम, भगवान का नाम जप कीर्तन करके ये सारी चीज़ें अपने अंदर धीरे धीरे आ जाएंगी। हरे कृष्णा। Yes, somebody has some question. Yes. हरे कृष्णा।
महाराज मेरे एक क्वेश्चन था कि जैसे आप बता रहे हैं कि हमें भक्ति करना चाहिए, पर कभी-कभी हम 100% भक्ति का लक्ष्य बना के चलते हैं, पर 100% नहीं कर पाते, 40%, कभी 30%, कभी 40%, आधे से भी कम कर पाते हैं, तो महाराज हमारी अंत में गति कौन सी होगी?
अभी छोटे हो तो जितना हो सके 20%, 30%, 40% करो, और जब बड़े हो जाओगे फिर 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 तक पहुंच जाओ, फिर गति अच्छी ही होगी। अभी वृंदावन में जो वास मिला है तो अच्छी ही गति होगी। ठीक है, हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा, हरे कृष्णा।
Guruji, I have a question that, like in the olden times, there was paperless education. So, how can we still get the paperless education without any technology?
How can we?
How can we achieve the paperless education without any technology?
Without?
Any technology.
Without any technology. See, nowadays there is technology, so you may use it according to the direction of your teachers. Okay? Use it in the way that they guide you to use. And at the same time, don't become a slave of all of these things. You also learn to exercise your intelligence and memory side by side. Okay? Don't depend only on technology. ठीक है? हरे कृष्णा।
मेरा एक प्रश्न था कि आपने हमको बताया कि हमको अकेडमिक्स में अच्छा स्कोर करना है, तो फिर ये जो अकेडमिक्स में हमको मटेरियल थी पढ़ा रहे हैं, हमको वैसे भी तो भगवान के पास है, तो वहाँ पे कैसे मालूम है इसका?
प्रभुपाद क्या नाम है? राम भारद्वाज। तो नोट कर लेना, आगे चल के शुद्ध भक्त बनना है। हाँ, वो लोग वृंदावन जाना है। तो प्रभुपाद जी बोलते थे, हाँ अब ज़रूर, परंतु देखो प्रहलाद महाराज ने भी जब कहा कि भगवान की भक्ति करना ही सर्वश्रेष्ठ शिक्षण है, फिर भी प्रहलाद ने बाकी सब कुछ भी सीख लिया और आगे चल के उन्होंने राज्य को संभाला, राजपद को भी उन्होंने स्वीकार किया। जब कोई राजा होता है तो राज्य चलाने के लिए उसे बहुत कुछ जानना होता है, तो दुनिया के बारे में भी जानना होता है। तो श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने कहा कि हमारे बच्चों को भक्ति अच्छी तरह से करनी चाहिए, परंतु संसार में मूर्ख बन के नहीं रहना चाहिए। इसलिए उन्होंने संसार का ज्ञान भी होना चाहिए। हाँ, तो यदि कोई पूछे कि भाई दिल्ली क्या है, हमें पता नहीं दिल्ली क्या है, ये सूर्योदय हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है, कैसे पता नहीं, तो ये थोड़ा बहुत गणित है। आप बाज़ार में गए, कुछ करने गए, खरीदने गए, देखा कि हिसाब किताब नहीं आता है, कितने पैसे लेने हैं देने हैं, गणित नहीं आता, तो हम संसार में जिएंगे कैसे? तो संसार में जीने के लिए जितने ज्ञान की आवश्यकता है संसारी ज्ञान की, उसको भी सीख लेना आवश्यक है हमारे लिए। ठीक है? तो आगे चल के यदि हमें कुछ पढ़ना लिखना कुछ नहीं आता, तो आगे चल के आप कुछ करने जाओगे और आपको कुछ करना नहीं आता, तो फिर बड़ी मुसीबत हो जाएगी, फिर कष्ट हो जाए, कठिनाई हो जाएगी। इसलिए संसार का ज्ञान भी चाहिए और भक्ति का ज्ञान भी चाहिए, दोनों चीज़ें साथ साथ चलनी चाहिए। ठीक है? कम से कम थोड़े हद तक तो पढ़ाई सबको करनी चाहिए, उसके बाद फिर कोई भले और आगे चल के पीएचडी करे, एमए पीएचडी करे, वो अलग बात है। सबको एमए पीएचडी करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, परंतु थोड़े हद तक तो सभी को उतना ज्ञान प्राप्त कर लेना चाहिए। ठीक है? ताकि ऐसा ना हो कि भक्त लोग दुनिया में मूर्ख ऐसे जाने जाएं कि उनको कुछ पता ही नहीं है। समुद्र क्या है पता नहीं, पहाड़ क्या है पता नहीं, बारिश कैसी गिरती है पता नहीं। तो हमें ये सब चीज़ें थोड़ी बहुत आनी चाहिए, ठीक है। और आगे चल के यदि अपनी नौकरी करनी है, जो लोग आगे चल के मंदिर में रह जाएंगे ठीक है, फिर आगे चल के नौकरी करनी है, कोई व्यवसाय करना है अपनी जीविका के लिए, अपने परिवार का भरण पोषण करने के लिए, तो संसार का ज्ञान तो होना चाहिए। नहीं तो हम कैसे जिएंगे, और जी नहीं पाएंगे तो भक्ति कैसे करेंगे। तो अवश्य भक्ति करना हमारा जीवन का उद्देश्य है, परंतु शुद्ध भक्त बनना ये एक दिन की बात नहीं है, ये आजीवन हमें परिश्रम करना होगा। तो जब जीवन भर की का परिश्रम है, तो हम जीते जीते हमें खाने की आवश्यकता है, कपड़े चाहिए, रहने का स्थान चाहिए, कुछ धन चाहिए। तो ये सब कमाने के लिए भी हमें योग्य हो जाना चाहिए संसार में रहने के लिए, भले हम भक्ति भी क्यों न कर रहे हों। इसलिए संसार का ज्ञान पाना भी आवश्यक है। परंतु आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा कि शिक्षण हो या जीवन हो, इन दोनों का उद्देश्य ही है अंततः कि हम भगवान के शुद्ध भक्त बन जाएं। लेकिन दोनों पटरियों पर चलना चाहिए, ठीक है। हरे कृष्णा।
Sometimes by atheists जो नास्तिक लोग हैं वो they question that like devotee से पूछते हैं कि आपने अपने पूरे लाइफ में आपने तपस्या करी, ऑस्टेरिटी करी है, और मतलब बहुत अच्छी तरीके से डिवोशन किया है, but like what happens if after that you don't find Krishna, like what happens if there is no Krishna after that? So उसका रिप्लाई क्या होना चाहिए?
बहुत अच्छा सवाल किया। क्या नाम है? पार्थ सारथी। देखो नाम भी ऐसा ही है। तो ऐसा ही प्रश्न किसी एक पत्रकार ने श्रील प्रभुपाद जी से पूछा था। उन्होंने पूछा कि आप इतनी तपस्या कर रहे हैं, ये नहीं खाना, वो नहीं पीना, ऐसा नहीं करना, वैसा नहीं करना, सुबह सुबह उठना, और इतनी सारी तपस्या करने के बाद यदि मृत्यु के समय आपको पता चला कि भगवान या कृष्ण नहीं हैं, तो आप क्या करेंगे? तो श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने उत्तर दिया कि फिर हमारे लिए नुकसान क्या है। हम जब जी रहे थे भक्त बन के, तो इतना स्वादिष्ट प्रसाद हम चख रहे थे, जीवन भर स्वादिष्ट प्रसाद ग्रहण किया हमने, इतना मधुर संगीत का लाभ उठाया, इतने अच्छे अच्छे भजन गाए, कीर्तन किया हमने, इतनी अच्छी फिलॉसफी पढ़ी हमने, तो बड़ा सुख का जीवन हमने बिताया। तो यदि अंत में ऐसा हमें पता चले कि भगवान नहीं है, फिर भी हमारा क्या नुकसान हुआ। परंतु प्रभुपाद जी ने कहा, अब मैं आपसे एक प्रश्न करूँगा। आप कहती हैं कि भगवान नहीं है और इसलिए सारे पाप काम करते हो आप, और मृत्यु के समय यदि आपको पता चला कि भगवान या कृष्ण हैं, तब आप क्या करोगे? तो ये श्री प्रभुपाद जी ने ऐसे कहा। तो जो लोग भक्त हैं उनके लिए कभी कोई नुकसान नहीं होता, और यदि इस जीवन में भक्ति वो संपूर्ण रीति से नहीं कर पाए, फिर भी अगले जन्म में उनको एक अवसर मिलेगा, जैसे हम सबको मिला है। ये जन्म मिला है भक्ति करने के लिए, क्योंकि पिछले जन्म में हम भक्ति पूर्ण नहीं कर पाए थे। तो इसलिए कोई नुकसान नहीं है हमारे लिए, कोई डरने की बात नहीं है। तो इसलिए हमें निश्चिंत रह के करना चाहिए। तो इसलिए भगवान हैं और जीते जी भगवान के अस्तित्व का अनुभव भक्त लोग करते हैं। हरे कृष्णा। ठीक है।